it's a good time of year to be thankful for what has transpired over the last 9-10 months. It's a good time to look forward to next year. So go through some of that reflection and what you're thankful for.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Grit Meets Growth podcast, where we bring you inspiration and insights focused on getting uncomfortable, making things happen, and creating a magnetic life. If you enjoy the messages you're hearing here, please leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes of the podcast. With that, let's get after it.
Holy smokes, John. Can you believe it's November and everybody will be listening to this the week of Thanksgiving.
It is. I'm gonna tell you my thought on Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving. I love family. I love everything about Thanksgiving. I love the month of November. I like that. I like the way we weave Thanksgiving into the month of November, but it always makes me laugh that this is like the one time of the year where we talk about gratitude and Thanksgiving, and then we shelve it for 11 months and we don't talk about it. So like I appreciate the fact that there's a month kind of dedicated to it. There's a day dedicated to it. It's an important topic and something that needs to be talked about. So
absolutely thankful for so much. And I try to weave that in through the course of the year, right? And be thankful at more times than just November. Obviously this is a time where we get way more focused on it. Which is good, right? Sets us up. It's a good time. It's a good time of year to be thankful for what has transpired over the last 9-10 months. It's a good time to look forward to next year. So go through some of that reflection and what you're thankful for.
It has the ability, which is cool, to be a really good launch pad for the coming year. Like, we're going to start setting goals for next year. You and I were just talking about our goal setting from last year a little bit, and areas where we hit it out of the park, some areas where we didn't. But it is definitely, like, you look back, you think about what you're grateful for over the past year. But it also is, like we said, a good launch pad for what's coming next year and sets you up for success, which is good.
Yeah. And it's great, as we're talking about goals just for a second, it's great to have those stretch goals, but it's also important to create those daily goals, those daily tasks that, create those small wins that you can stack up day after day after day that turn into big things, right? Everybody wants to chase this big, hairy, audacious goal. And those are great to have that out there, but you gotta chip it away and be consistent with it, right? And we've talked about that time and time again. Consistency of those little wins, consistency of checking off those tasks, will get you farther down the path to your goals than any other thing will, right? Having that consistent, being in the gym consistently, having your diet dialed in consistently, making sales calls consistently, you name it, right? Pick whatever your activity is, do that consistently, you're going to move the ball forward.
The beauty of that is you can't not move the ball forward if you do the small things consistently. Right? 75 Hard was a huge example of that I think for both of us this year, where you did things consistently. You did them on the days when it sucked, when it was uncomfortable. I mean, a couple of those walks that we did, you and I did a couple together. We did them on our own, did the 2-a-days, you did the diet, the water. I mean, there was plenty of stuff in that was challenging and uncomfortable, but when you did it consistently over and over and over again, you didn't see the results after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you didn't see much for results. After 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you didn't see a whole lot. You started to see hints, but it was really after the 75 days that you could look back and see what you had stacked up over 75 days worth of work. that applies to every area in your life. If you start to do small things consistently, you will see results 100%.
No doubt. No doubt.
The gratitude conversation. One of the things that I think is so interesting about gratitude, and I wrote about this a little bit in the Depth Not Width blog a little while ago. The research on gratitude is through the roof. Like if you think gratitude is this fluffy thing that is a nice to have, or it's good in November, which is in all honesty where I was at for a long time. That idea of I'm going to spend some time every day and be grateful as one of those little things I'm going to stack up. I thought it was fluffy. I thought I was busy. I thought I didn't have time not to do it. I thought there was not room for it in my day. I just had too much going on, right? The science behind spending just a little bit of time every day in gratitude is through the roof. There's a doctor, Dr. Emmons, Robert Emmons from University of California, Davis talks about this. He's done a ton of research on gratitude, and he runs people through these gratitude studies where they'll go for 3 weeks, and every day for 3 weeks, write down what you're grateful for. Big things, small things, the whole deal. The results that they see over the course of 3 weeks, stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure, improved sleep, increased levels of joy, pleasure, and optimism. Where they see numbers and data that says this is what people are picking up in their lives because they're spending just a little bit of time every day thinking about what they're grateful for. Why wouldn't we all do that?
And it's not hard. I don't think it's hard at all, right? The first thing, you can be grateful from the first moment you open your eyes every day. Why? Grateful that I get the opportunity to open my eyes today. I get another day. Stop being greedy with your day. Don't open your eyes and get greedy with what you want to accomplish. Be grateful. I get to accomplish it, right? It's just changing that verbiage. I get to do something today. I get to utilize my skills to do something today. I'm grateful that I woke up and I'm on the right side of the grass. That's easy. That's something easy that we can do every morning.
Yeah, the old guys I talk to, when you say I'm grateful that I'm on the right side of the grass, the old guys I talk to, that's their go-to. I'm on the right side of the ground this morning. We take that for granted because we assume we're going to wake up, we're on the right side of the ground. We don't know, but they get it. They see that. It's always fun talking to old guys, older people in general. What are you grateful for?
And it doesn't have to be old people. A lot of it's vets, man. A lot of the folks that I talk to are, veterans that are like, man, I'm just happy to be on the blue side of the grass. I'm like, and the first time I heard that, I'm like, blue side of the grass. What are you talking about? Yeah, man, the sky is blue. It's above us. I'm on the right side of the grass.
We spend a lot of our time, and this is maybe why November and Thanksgiving is so important. We spend a lot of our time going through the motions, coasting, thinking about what we don't have. And I think that's an important part of goal setting as well, is sometimes we get stuck when we do our goal setting, focused on what we don't have and what we're going to go get, what we're going to make happen, what we want to achieve, all of which is really important. There's like uber important when it comes to like figuring out where you want to go. But thinking about this as a journey and a destination, that goal is your destination, but you need to figure out on the way to the destination how to enjoy the journey. Gratitude is that thing. As we go through our days, what was good today? In the beginning, like you said, you wake up in the morning, that's a gift. I woke up today. I got one thing on the list I can be grateful for. By the end of the day, you should have a handful of things that you can be grateful for, that you can enjoy about the journey you're on. You may not have reached your goal yet, but you're on your way. You got to figure out how to enjoy that.
You do. You absolutely do. But the other interesting part about that, about goal setting is, right, it can be misconstrued as this kind of wishing and wanting, right? If you're writing goals down, a lot of just what you're talking about, John, it's like, those are wishes, right? Those are wish and wants and things that we want to accomplish. If we're not going to execute upon them, then that's all they are, is wish and wants. You got to start kind of doing that make and take. You got to take action. It's great to set the goal, but if you're not going to take action towards achieving it, that's why I and we talked about this last year when we were talking about setting goals, but getting clear on what are the activities that I need to do to achieve the goal. Quantify it. Is there, if it's goals within your business, quantify what that revenue number needs to look like in order for you to achieve that goal. Quantify what steps you need to take to achieve that revenue goal. What does that look like? How many customers is that, right? Break that down to the smallest level possible. And then you can start working backwards and know exactly how long it's going to take you to do that. And start taking action. That's the big thing. Be thankful, be grateful, and take action. 2 steps. No?
No, I had to think about that for a second. Be thankful, be grateful. Be thankful, be grateful is 1 step.
Right.
Take action. I'm
Do we want to back that up?
Yeah. Back up the train. I'm catching up. It is though, like, be thankful, be grateful, and take action. Like, take action's interesting because I think a lot of people set goals, and I'll call myself out on this specifically when I talk about this, because I don't want anybody to think this is directed any other direction but internally to me. I set goals, and then the real test to see how bad I want the goal that I set is if I show up and do the work. If I don't show up and do the work, that's a pretty good indication that I didn't want it that bad. So like this morning, 4:45 in the morning, I had one opportunity to get to the gym. And you and I have talked about this. You got to roll out of bed, put your feet on the floor, get rolling. Like, don't wait, because if you wait, you'll probably stay asleep. You'll probably stay in bed. I know what I want. And so feet hit the floor. I'm out of bed. I'm in the car by 5 a.m. to go do what I need to do. Because I know why I want it. I know what I want. I know what it's going to take to get there. But I've got other goals that I've had over the course of this year, thinking back through my goals for this year and what I wanted to accomplish, that I knew what the action was that I needed to take, but I didn't do the work. And so there are some things on that goal list that I haven't wanted bad enough to actually show up and do what it was going to take to get it done.
I think this year, right? And what we should do as we're reviewing those on a monthly basis, right? Or quarterly even, is break it down. What do you need? What are the smaller steps, right? Take that big goal out of the mix and break it down to the smaller steps and start chipping those off. Back to your gym statement, right? Listen, this time of year in Minnesota, when the weather is changing, 2 weeks ago it was 80 degrees. And this weekend is going to be 14. Like, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. And, seasonal depression is a real thing. Like, I deal with it, especially going from summer, autumn to winter, right? And there are going to be times where we fail. There are going to be times where we fail to go to the gym. There's going to be times where we fail on our diet. The key is not to let that failure continue on. You mess up your diet, mess it up for a day or two, and then get back on track. You miss the gym, don't miss it for more than 2 days and get back on track. Like, we have to get into that mindset. It's okay. We can give ourselves a little bit of freedom to fail, but know that we have to get back on that horse, right? We got to get back on track. Fail fast, do it. Go all in. Man, eat a whole tub of ice cream if you want. But get back to your goals. Get back to your actions.
I talk to my kids about that all the time. Perfection is something we want to chase. Doesn't exist. You're never going to catch it. You might as well get comfortable with the fact that you are going to fail from time to time. You're going to fall down. Sometimes the failure is going to be something that was out of your control. Sometimes it's going to be your own deal, but get back on the horse as fast as you can and get rolling.
But that's why creating those daily attack plans, right? Creating those daily activities. What are those 5 things that I need to accomplish today that push me closer towards my goal? Write them down. Get after it, right? Those little wins on a daily add up to big successes in the long term.
I would say those things that you do daily, I would argue that gratitude needs to be on that list. If you skip that, I think you're going to have problems. One of the things that I do every year around this time is I'll have a tool that I use. It's got 100 blank spaces in it, and I write down 100 things I'm grateful for. And usually the first 10, 15, 20 are pretty easy. The next 20, 30 are a little bit harder. And then the last 50, like, you really have to think about what you're grateful for to fill up a page with 100 things that you're grateful for. The cool thing about that is, though, like, when you start to think about it, I've got 100 things to be grateful for. And some of them are super small. Sometimes it's a hot cup of coffee on a cold morning, like you're talking about. Sometimes it's when the sun comes out. I mean, like, if you really start thinking about some of the little things and the small things that you're grateful for, you can fill up a list of 100 things, and you have 100 things that you're grateful for. It can be kind of a daunting task to be like, oh, I got to come up with 100 things. I don't have 100 things. You spend a little bit of time on it, I bet you do.
Absolutely. I think they're everywhere. I'm just, as you're talking through that, I'm thinking about all the things, and I'm like, yeah, they're everywhere you turn around. No matter where you turn, no matter where you're at, there are things to be grateful for.
And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have challenges as well. There are things in your life that you're not grateful for. There's a challenge. I've got a buddy right now who's going through some cancer that came up out of the blue that he didn't expect. He's probably not grateful for that. But I know in the conversations I've had with him, what it's done for him and his wife and their kids, how God's shown up in the middle of that. He's still pretty grateful about the experience he's going through, even though it sucks. I mean, you've been there, you've walked through that. Like, there are I
know a lot of folks that have it or are battling it now. And It is all about mindset. It is all about gratitude. It's all about having the right mindset. It's what gets you through it. It's what takes you to the other side. It's what allows you to battle that disease with every ounce of energy you've got. Because that's what it takes, though. That's what it takes, that battle. It takes that effort. It takes everything you have to get through that battle, to get to the other side. And there are proven results. And folks that I've seen go through treatments, have the right attitude, come out the other side with no disease. And guess what? It didn't break them. It didn't break them. Having the right mindset, coming from a place of gratitude, will take you through that battle.
I think the coolest thing about what you just said is the idea that gratitude is a choice. That we have the ability, like, we're all wired with negativity bias, and we could have a whole conversation on negativity bias and how we are naturally bent toward a slight level of negativity. We're naturally bent toward fear because that's what used to keep our ancestors alive when there were saber-toothed tigers that were going to come eat them. That negativity bias is still hardwired into our system. And so we still tilt that way sometimes naturally, but gratitude and positivity are choices we get to make where we can stand up against that and we can say, okay, I could go there and I could let myself spiral that direction, but I don't have to. And if anyone's listening to this and going like, you guys are pricks, like it'd be, if you knew what I was going through right now, you wouldn't talk like that. You wouldn't say that. I don't know what anybody's going through. I know we've both gone through some stuff that was pretty rough, pretty hard. We've both had our challenges and our battles that we've walked through, and it hasn't always been pretty. So I think the encouragement is just work really hard to choose gratitude and positivity. Those days where you can't get there, show yourself some grace, but work hard to make that your go-to.
Yeah. And, through my battle, through friends of mine that have been through that battle, having that daily attack plan, it's what got me through, right? And I've told that story before. Like I'm in the hospital, right? Come out of surgery, I'm in the hospital. What do I need to do today to move me closer, right? I'd meet with my medical team, with my doctors, nurses. What do I need to do today to get me out of here faster? And then focus on that, right? Small picture. Playing small ball still wins the game, man. Everybody doesn't have to get up and hit a home run. Small ball wins the game. Still scores runs. Having those daily tasks and those daily goals and working towards them and checking those boxes and getting those wins every single day, guaranteed. Guaranteed to win.
One of the other things to toss in here into a conversation about gratitude is we have the ability and we should be grateful for ourselves. And I think both of us are pretty good at that, but like that ability to be grateful for yourself, for your body, for your mind, for who you are, how you show up, I think is a big deal. You shared something with me earlier this week, and I don't know where this came from, but it's solid. The healer also needs healing. The planner also needs surprises. The giver also needs to receive. The thoughtful also needs to be thought of. The considerate also needs to be considered. Like we all have those basic needs. We have the ability to do a lot of things to meet other people's needs. But also, I think in the process of that, as you're being thankful for yourself, I think there's something to be said for making sure your own buckets are filled up. Sometimes that means you got to fill up your own bucket. And sometimes other people are going to come alongside you and do that. You should be thankful for those people in your life that are bucket fillers, who are filling up your bucket every day, who are cheerleaders, who are on your team, on your side. But also sometimes you need to do that for yourself and be that person for yourself as well.
Well, and I think it's important, especially in this, holiday season that we're embarking upon, that, those statements that you just read, and as I'm looking at them, really think about your circle. Think about the people in your circle. I'll bet you every one of those healer, planner, giver, thoughtful person, considerate person are all in your group. They all make up your circle. You're one of them. Think about how you can provide that. Think about that healer. What healing can you provide to them? How can you step out of your comfort zone? out of a role that you don't normally play and provide value back into your circle. It might be just a word, right? It might be just a conversation. It might be doing some activity for them. But I'll challenge you. Find that healer. Find that planner. Find that giver. Find that thoughtful person, that considerate person in your circle. And give them healing. Give them surprises. Give that giver something. Think of the thoughtful person. Be considerate to the considerate. Put that into your daily activities for the next 30 days. Put it into your goals for next year. How different would your life be doing that?
There's a book called The Go-Giver that I'm reading it probably for the third or fourth time right now. And it talks a lot about that. Like a lot of times we get wrapped up in the chase and we get wrapped up in the goals and we get wrapped up in all these things, but we have this opportunity to be really radical and intentional givers, to add value, exactly what you're talking about, to add value to people's lives in our circle, in our clients, in our friends, in our families. I mean, we have opportunities every day to be that giver who adds value, and things naturally come back when you do that. But right now, just based on what you just said, I'm thinking about my circle. I'm thinking about the people in my circle that I care about, that I'm really thankful for. And coming out of this conversation, my deal is going to be to let them know how thankful I am for them one-on-one. Some of them might be a phone call. Some of them might be a text. Some of them might be like a card in the mail, whatever, a note. But I think we have to let people know when we have the opportunity, the impact that they're making and what a big deal they are. So.
Absolutely. Goes right back to gratitude. It all weaves back in, man.
Yeah. I would say, just thinking about this community that we're building at Grit Meets Growth, you and I talk about this all the time, but we are both extremely grateful for anyone who's become part of this group, part of this tribe, anyone who has spent time and invested time listening into a podcast episode, anyone who sent the notes of encouragement to us along the way. It's a lot of work, but we're trying to just put solid stuff out there that's going to help everybody, including ourselves, get better, get stronger, grow. And we're just really thankful for everybody who's been part of it and has jumped on board with this. So
if this episode hits for you and you want to see more content and be alerted when new episodes come out, make sure you're subscribing, no matter what platform you're on. Give a share, give a like. Help us build this community together.
We're grateful for all of you. That wraps it up for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the Grit Meets Growth tribe. And thanks for growing along with us and being part of this journey together. If you know someone who needs to hear the conversation we had today, please share it. If you got something out of this conversation, please leave us a review. And finally, if you want to make sure you don't miss future episodes, just remember to subscribe. We're thankful for each and every one of you. And as my co-host and good friend Chris Cathers always says, make it a great day.